Get it all figured out.
How'd the workshop go?
I went to go check out Horace Little, Greens thing you guys going back there, which is right down the street from the school, by the way. Got tore up. Like real tore. I went by and was like, oh my goodness. Tornado hit here in Dyer. I forgot about it. But yeah, he has this crazy plastic sheeting, tunnel dome, like Portuguese style. It's just horrible. Just like, he wasn't there. Otherwise I would have.
I don't know. He left before me.
I have a sundial in my car for you.
That's right. Thank you guys for coming out tonight. Great turnout. Kid, it's a little ringy up here. I think you can probably turn this down some if you don't mind. There you go. So welcome, thank you for coming out for an informational meeting on the possibility of a 4-day school week for next year. What we're going to do, the format for tonight, is we're going to go through a PowerPoint presentation. We had a lot of questions and a lot of comments that were made on the survey. We had a phenomenal response to the survey. That was fantastic. So thank you for all of those who responded in that way. We're going to go through and explain in more detail, hopefully, some of the particular aspects about the 4-day school week and what it looks like. And then we've got several questions over here, and we're going to address those questions as best we can. So just to get started, my name is Jim Andrus. I'm the superintendent. This is Shelley Crowe. She's our assistant superintendent. And we're going to give you as much information as we can. And I will tell you, there's going to be times when we don't know the answer to the question. If we don't know, we're going to tell you, I don't know. We'll write that down and dig into it a little bit deeper. So really, the first couple of things we're going to talk about is why would we consider a 4-day school week, teacher support, teacher recruitment and retention, and a better balance for students are some of the things that we have seen in the research. And let me just say this about the research. We have seen you can get on a website and it will say everything is the best in the world about a 4-day school. It's almost salvation. And then you'll get on the next website and it will just take you down the rabbit hole that it's the most horrible thing you've ever seen. I don't think either one of those are really true. The data that we're looking at, it doesn't make anything tremendously better. It doesn't make anything tremendously worse. And there are some critical attributes to about that we'll talk about. So teacher support in Texas, nearly 70% of all new teachers are in alternative certification programs and did not attend college to become a teacher. That sounds crazy. This has been coming for a long time. And it really came home and hit us hard about 3 years ago, especially after the pandemic. What's happening now in education is that we have people that are getting degrees but not majoring in education. And then they're looking at a job in education and comparing that with jobs that they can get in other areas. They're just looking for a job. That is the majority of people that are on the market now. They call them alt certs. And so they have a degree, they get an alternative certification that makes them legal to teach and makes them certified to teach, but they have had very little pedagogy in their content area. They can pass the test, but do they really know how to teach? It's a very, very different way of looking at it. This is not just in this area, it's not just in Texas, it's nationwide. We're seeing a huge difference in the marketplace for quality teachers. You jump in.
Well, and guys, with that, one of the problems we find is when we get our alt cert people, most of our training and helping out these people and making them great teachers comes at the beginning of the year before school even starts, before our kids get here, before we have any data, before we have anything of where we're going, before they even know they're kids. So if we consider a 4-day school week, we can break that up and have lots of time to help build those teachers, because that's what we're getting. I mean, it is what it is. 70% of them are not certified.
And then you answered that second bullet. It allows for support for new and veteran teachers on that 5th day throughout the year, and we'll talk about those calendars in just a minute. So across the state, there is a shortage of teachers. I think we just kind of addressed that. Districts that have moved to a 4-day week have seen an increase in veteran teachers moving from 5-day week districts. Generally, in employment outside of school and inside of school, just employing people in the general public, folks are looking for, since the pandemic, folks are looking for alternative ways of working. I have 2 of our kids, we have 4 boys and 4 daughter-in-laws, and 2 of those work from home. They have a completely alternative way of managing. One of the girls, one of our daughter-in-laws, never sees another person in her company. Once a year, she sees other people, and that's it. She just does all of her work for home. So there's an alternative there. When districts see a bump in employees because of the stress of just the job of teaching, a lot of folks are looking for a less stressful alternative. And a lot of what we've seen about 4-day schools are that gives those folks a much less stressful way of handling the week. And we're going to talk even more about that a little bit. Providing teachers time to plan, grade, and conference on the 5th day increases teacher effectiveness and allows for a better work-life balance. Work-life balance is a huge part of that. You have anything else to say about that?
Well, on the teacher recruitment, guys, you know, if you think back to when we were in school, well, or when I was in school, I'm old. So we had teachers, they had to be certified. They had to be certified in that certain area. It had to be history or math or English or whatever. Well, you can, all of us in here can think back to our childhood when we were in school and think, okay, I had that one teacher that was fantastic. I learned math because of her. Or I want to be a teacher because of her. Or she was just fantastic. We all have that person that we can all think about. Those people are very, very hard to find now. They're not coming to us as those kind of people that got certified in math and history and reading and English and all the things that we need. The upper level math at high school, those physics classes, those things that they're coming to us with business degrees and accounting degrees and things like that. Again, so we all have those teachers that we can think of. Think about how many of those are gone and retired. And I mean, even the ones that taught me, there's not any left. So with the recruitment, we're hoping some of those people, those good ones that are certified and are willing to maybe come back and help us out 4 days instead of 5 days, we hope to get some of those good people that you're thinking about back in the classroom in front of our kids. Does that kind of make sense? That's a recruitment area. We hope that that's where we have a good screening process in place, to be on it. You know, we hope we interview and we look at those people in the face and the eyes and have good questions to ask and hope that we come up with the best people that I mean, all of us interview people that have businesses and work, and you always hope you get the best. We are wanting to put the best in front of our kids, period. The best people we can get.
Todd Whitaker wrote a book several years ago called The Art of Teaching. One of the statistics that we don't have up here, but that we put in the web page that we sent out, the PowerPoint presentation that we sent out, talked about FaceTime with kids. We are in first world countries. Our teachers spend about twice as much time in direct face-to-face contact with kids than Norway and Finland and Japan and China and all those other places. What the 4-day week seems to do in the superintendents that we've been visiting with, what it seems to do is give those teachers the opportunity of being creative again. When you're working in class and you get one 45-minute break a day, sometimes you're going to art meetings or you're going to sit meetings and you don't actually get a break to plan. The only time teachers have to get that done is after school or on the weekends. That's the alternative for them. It's always been that way, but as our culture changes and shifts, it's becoming more and more difficult. What we're hearing about the teachers who are having that 5th day off, whether it's a Monday or a Friday, is that they are actually coming in and planning on a couple of days a month, but on the other days, they've got time to just think and ruminate about those kids. Keith, I'm going to use you as an example. Keith Krieger walks the town constantly, okay? When teachers are walking, a lot of what they're doing is thinking, just like you are. If you're walking around a track or you're walking on a treadmill, you're starting to think about things. teachers are thinking about their kids. And they know the lesson that's coming up this next week. And they can think of that kid or those kids that are going to have a difficult time in mastering that concept. They know the kids that are going to get it right off the bat. And then they know those kids that are going to have a difficult time. That kind of creative thinking allows those teachers the time to plan for those kids so that they can actually have that second strategy that they're going to use with them. They can have, when they go to the back table, they've got a unique thing planned for that kid because they have time to think about it and their stress is lower. So what we're hearing is that, and what we're seeing, not in all the research, you're going to find people that say it absolutely doesn't work, and then it's the next best thing to sliced bread. But teachers are more effective than they are when they are teaching in a 5-day setting. If you take the kids away and you just look at employment and working in a working environment, the data is very, very clear on that. The UK just published one last week. They had 300 of the largest businesses in the UK. They did a year-long study of those businesses, and they all went to a 4-day work week. When they came out of that study, only 2% of those went back into a 5-day work week. They said their production was much higher, the quality of their work, the culture, the happiness of their people worked harder, they took fewer days off, all of those kinds of things. And we're seeing similar data coming out of school districts as well. The better balance for students in extracurricular activities, missed instruction time. The high school students on the 5th day are able to work and gain employment. We put this on the PowerPoint that we sent out as well. What we're also seeing is for kids all the way up and down, they have less stress. They have a little more time to think about the solutions for themselves, right? Especially as they get older. This is slow, I apologize.
One of the things that we're trying, that kind of is driving this, and most of you have heard about House Bill 4545. If you've had a student or a child that has failed a STAR test, any grade level, 3rd grade through 12th, the state now requires us to remediate for 30 hours for every test that they failed. Well, in high school, some of our students, you take 5 tests. Some of our students are failing 5 tests, still have not passed them. Every time they fail it, you have to remediate 30 hours per subject. So some of our kids are needing 150 and 220 hours of remediation that the state is requiring that we offer them. So when we say a Friday off or a Monday off of school, it might not be every student. We're going to have some of those groups that need remediation, that need the extra time to come up, and because we're required to offer those hours. We're going to also have that hopefully built into our school day. We haven't nailed down a calendar and a definite thing yet, but we hope to have that nailed down where we have some time in the school day, so those kids that may just need 30 hours, we can get done in the school day. The kids that need 150, 175, 220, they're going to have to spend some Fridays or some Mondays up here with us to get some extra work. And we're hoping that that not only gets their hours, but it remediates them so the next time they take that test, they pass it, and we can get them graduated. That's the goal. So there are going to be some of those days that we work. Does that make sense?
The school day now. Typically, we're going from 8 to about 3:40. We have 182 teacher work days, 171 student days. We have 79,650 minutes in school. The state requires 75,600 minutes. It used to be that the state required days, the number of days, and so we had makeup days for snow days. If you'll remember the last several years, we've had some snow days and we haven't had to make them up because we've built enough hours into enough minutes, into the master schedule and the yearly calendar that we haven't had to make those up. So what it would look like, and this is, we get there? So what could a 4-day school day look like? Now, school year potential 7:30 to 4. No kid is gonna go to school from 7:30 to 4:30. Nobody is gonna do that. The state requires us.
Some of you already do, but.
Yeah. Yeah, everyone. Nobody's gonna do that. What the state allows us to do is ring the bell when we let kids in the building until the last kids go out. And so a 7:30 to 4:30 day actually gives us 81,000 minutes that we can manipulate inside of those time periods. So our buildings are open at 7:30 now. We just don't count all of that because we don't have to. But we're open at 7:30. Our buildings are open. CTE's open until how late are you guys open? I mean,
Some of our bills, 7 to 6.
yeah, 7 to 6. So that's not a difference. The difference will be in the master schedule in the class length. So in our secondary schools, we're looking probably having 57-minute classes. In our elementary schools, it's going to be less than that. And we'll get into that in just a little bit more detail in a minute. But that gives us 81,000 minutes, 165 teacher days, and 150 student days.
So actually, like our school day now, guys, gives us, the minutes that we work, gives us 3 extra days of overage that we just have at the end of the year. So if we had snow days or something, a blizzard comes through like a couple of years ago, we have 3 days. This is going to allow for like 18 extra days. So we're actually more time in front of the kids with this than we are now.
So I don't want to read to you, but let's just go through this. What could a 4-day week possibly look like? Approximately 30 minutes will be added to the school day, longer class periods, extra recess for the younger kids, House Bill 45 interventions, read aloud, structured play, and CTE hours being fulfilled. CTE hours are our high school credits that CTE courses are career and technology education.
And junior highs.
And junior highs. Yeah, we have those in junior high. We have to have 57 minutes a day in a 4-day week to get those, and those hour-long classes allow us to do that. It also allows teachers that are teaching for 45 minutes now, which is junior high and high school schedule. You have time to then have that. We talked about the remediation time. How are you going to work with those kids who don't get it the first time? That gives you an extra 15 minutes in class for, first of all, the kids that did get it the first time, those Tier 1 learners. That allows them to finish their projects and get everything tied up. They have nothing to do when they leave school. But we get an opportunity for those Tier 2 learners that are really struggling with those concepts. That gives us enough time to complete the second strategy with those kids. A lot of our classes in 45 minutes have very little instruction time as it is. When you get into those classes, like if you're setting up science labs, if you're in a welding class or band or a lot of those classes, you've got all the setup time and then you've got the tear down and cleanup time. And so that 15 minutes is really, really valuable for those guys. Mondays and Fridays, we are working on just potentially having Mondays off or Fridays off. So we're working on a 3-pronged calendar right now just to see what the possibilities are of taking all Mondays off through the year, all Fridays off during the year, and we've got one schedule that has, in the first semester we would take Mondays off, and in the second semester we would take Fridays off. And Mr. Hayes was the one that was talking to us about that. That way we know which one works best. And I'll tell you right up front, we've been doing 5-day school days for 100 years. We celebrated our 100th anniversary a couple of years back, maybe 10 years ago. And we still have things that we have to work on. There's problems there. There are going to be problems when we go to a 4-day school because we've not done it before. If the board decides to do that, we're going to have issues. We're going to have problems to work through. So this will not be just as smooth as glass getting off. We're going to do everything we can to make it go as smooth as we can. But the reality is there's going to be some issues that we have to work through. We know there will be. Teachers will be required to work a certain number of days, and we're going to show you a sample calendar in just a minute about what that looks like. I think there are no more than 2 of those off days if it's a Monday or a Friday. no more than 2 in any one month. And there would be a couple of them that would have work days. So what would happen on those days? Teachers, we were talking this morning about some teachers are thinking, oh, I have no expectations on those days. No, they're work days, but they're planning days. They're days when you get time to plan, work on vertical alignment if you're a math teacher, an English teacher, or a science teacher, or social studies teacher. That's also a day that we can have meetings with parents for SIT meetings or ARD meetings. Not to tie up a teacher's entire day, but it keeps us from having to do that during their conference period like they're doing now. That's really difficult on teachers to be teaching and run down to a parent meeting and then come back and not having any planning time at all. So that's one of those benefits. Students will be invited on Sundays. Those are the intervention days. What we've seen in most districts is they have some days that are half days for intervention and for teachers. No child would be here all day Friday. They would be half-day intervention days, so that we can get the most bang for the buck out of the kids. Because after that, they're like, okay, I'm struggling anyway, so this is a lot for me. And then there are some days that are half-day intervention days, but full days for teachers, and so that you'll see that in the calendar as well. And then extracurricular activities will continue. They will continue as they are now. That's one of the benefits of doing, for teachers, that's one of the benefits of taking Mondays off, is so that the coaches are not penalized by having to do all that work on a Friday and Saturday, etc. So this is a sample calendar. This one has, if you'll July, August, September, October, November, and December. I know it's very hard to read, I apologize. But that side is the first side, the first semester. The left side is the first semester. The right side is January through June. On this particular calendar, it's a Monday, Friday, so it's Mondays off on the left side in the fall semester. Anything that is yellow says school's completely closed. There's no teachers or students. If it's green, those are teacher work days. There's one red there that is a half-day intervention for teachers and for students. And then in December, there's a purple. That's a half-day for students and a full day for teachers. You go over on the right side, those colors still mean the same, but you're going to see more intervention times. On this one, you've got, in January, the teachers are on duty on the 19th, and they're off on, I think that's the 26th. That's a half-day intervention, and you can see all the way down how that works. So there are some months, if you'll go over to the bottom of the left column, there's a half-day intervention at the 1st of December, half-day workday, and then the rest of those times the teachers are completely off on Monday. So that kind of gives you an idea of what that intermittent schedule might look like. I know that's very difficult to look at, but or to see clearly. Can you all see a little bit about what we're talking about there?
We tried to put most of the intervention days and time just in the sample, like right before testing time. We found, the more intervention and the more cramming. I mean, most of us in college once, you cram right before the test and you hope you save it all in there before you go take it. That's kind of the same concept. We hope to cram it in right before and then hope they retain it for testing days. On student achievement guide, like he talked about, there is so much research that's mixed. To be honest, we don't know. We don't know if this is the best solution or the worst solution ever. Just to be honest, we don't know. There's not enough data out there that shows, hey, this school went to 4-day week and their STAR scores are really exploding, and this school went to 4-day week and their STAR scores are really dropping. The schools we have visited with have maintained an even keel. It's like we did during COVID. Y'all, we didn't drop off a whole lot. We were a point less in our taper report than we were during COVID, 1 point. So we are holding steady, even being out of school as much as we were during COVID. So the research, to be honest, we don't know. I think, personal opinion, 'You've got to have good teachers in front of your students to be successful. 'Cause if you don't have good teachers in front of your students, then you're going to have a hard time. And I think that's just my personal opinion. I think, personal opinion, you've got to have good teachers in front of your students to be successful. 'Cause if you don't have good teachers in front of your students, then you're going to have a hard time. You got to. So if going a 4-day week gets us the best teachers out there, we're going to be better. If we keep putting, some that are not the best or have not been trained to be teachers, I don't want to say they're bad, I'm not saying anything like that, then we're going to drop. So it's going to come down to systems in place and putting the best teachers in spots where we can. That goes for a 5-day week. Good teachers are going to be good teachers. So that's kind of the student achievement. We hope that this does increase our STAR scores and our student achievement a bunch. Of course, that's what we want. We're teachers, we're educators, we want them to pass and do the best they can. So we're hoping that this gets it done.
We looked at 40 different school districts and their STAR scores. There was only one district that changed. They were an A district and went to a B district because they were a 90 and they dropped to an 88. An insignificant change there. There were some that went up a tick or two and some that came down a tick or two, but there was nobody that we saw in any of the 40 schools we looked at that plummeted or rose way above. And what Shelley's talking about in the quality of the teacher, the research has been going on for 40 years. What we do know is the only thing that is 100% true is the teacher is the decisive element in the classroom that makes kids successful or not. It's the teacher. It's not the programs we put in place. It's not, now we have got programs in place to make better teachers, but it's the teacher. It's not a program. You can't get on a computer and do it. It's the teacher that's the decisive element for the kids.
Mr. Andrews, I was just wondering, the districts that you looked at, were they similar size to Slayton?
Some smaller and some larger. There are a lot of very large districts getting in now. Around the Dallas area, there's a lot of them. We looked at in depth. The ones that we've looked at the deepest are DeKalb and Anna. Anna is substantially larger than we are. DeKalb is about 300 students smaller than we are. Yes, ma'am.
Were they rated similar? Because our rating's not that high.
They were B's like we are.
Like B's like high school or?
High school's not a C, it's a B. Well, the junior high is a C campus. The high school's a B campus. We're gonna continue to answer questions, and then we'll have those conversations with you. I appreciate that. So the increase in teaching time coupled with increased planning time and teacher supports should result in improving student achievement across the district. That's what we have seen. And I will tell you, it's the teacher, and it is recruiting quality teachers and retaining quality teachers that makes the difference. That's what makes it work. So in those, let's look at the survey results. We had a phenomenal number of surveys that were turned in. And I saw one question over there that said, why could we get on as many times as we wanted to? The Qualtrics system that we use doesn't allow us to do that. Everybody would have to have an individual code to get in, and we just don't have that capability. But we had a lot of responses, over 600, I believe, for a district this size is a great number of responses, and I was really, really pleased about that. In statistics, you've got a yes and a maybe and a no. If people want to say no, they're going to say no. If they have yes, but I've got questions, that's a maybe. And so you're looking, you can look at the numbers. 22 of them said they were not in favor of a school day, a 4-day school day. The benefits of a 4-day week, we asked for people to rank those and let us know how they felt. The increase in teacher retention was 45.52. Increase in student attendance was 28.13. Increase in teacher attendance was way down at 4, and then the decrease in disciplinary referrals was 5. Those are all things that we have seen and been told are positives in a 4-day school week. Of concerns, There were 27.92% of the people said they had no concerns. One of the big concerns is childcare. A longer day is at 11%. The quality of instruction was 10.5%. Food for kids in need was 10.26. Loss of instruction time was 8.55, and the extracurricular impact was 4.27. The loss of instruction time in a 4-day week with the schedules that we're looking at, you actually gain 15 minutes with the kids over a week period of time. We're not losing instruction time. I'm sorry, this is a week.
Were the high school kids allowed to take this survey?
Yes, not this one. They had a, yes ma'am, they took a student survey. Yes ma'am. Did you get it to go? Okay. Which option is beneficial for your child? The either option again, statistically would go in the 4-day because they were fine with either one of them. 25% said that it would not be beneficial for their child.
Well, and the survey results that we're showing you is just the community survey. We did not add the staff or the students to these results. They were a little bit higher than this one. Since this is just a community forum, just to get the information out there, this is just the ones from the community. We did not do the teacher or the students.
Yeah.
So that's their
Clarity
numbers.
to it. If they're not, so the students are not included in this. So open-ended responses, we had a lot of open-ended responses, and so what we did was go through and read every one of them. They fell into on the reason. Let me back up one. So which option is beneficial, and then you gave reasons, open-ended reasons for why that was beneficial. So more time for learning and intervention in teacher prep was 27%. Work life, school balance was 29%. Good either way was almost 16%. And against the concept was 27.69%. In those open-ended responses, we had some great reviews with people saying, I really, really like this, but have you thought about this and this and this? And so those were very, very helpful. We had some people say, I really don't agree with this. One person said, I don't agree with this, but I don't know how you're going to keep from it, because that's the direction everyone's going, and if we're going to hire good people, that's what we need to do. So there were a lot of very, very good comments on that one. Will a 4-day week improve student attendance? So again, you had about 26% say no, and about 74% say either maybe or yes. That is one of the things that we have heard from school districts, is that the attendance tends, for teachers and students, tends to take an uptick. So will a 4-day week positively impact families? Again, it was about a 75-25% split there. Childcare needs on the 5th day. These were ranked. We know that childcare for some of our families is going to be an issue. And so 48%, almost 49% of those people said that no childcare would be needed. Now keep in mind that everybody filled this out in the community. So we could have people that said, I've got kids, but I don't have kids in school. We don't know that. Other family members, and then paid child care and after work or altering work schedule, and older siblings and friends. So on feedback to consider, these were the open-ended responses again. And so we went through and really categorized, but we were very careful on this one. If someone wrote several sentences and they were concerned about childcare and they were concerned about food for kids on that day, we gave credit in both of those places. Not everyone left open-ended comments, but there were some that were. So most of them were about child care supervision, mostly for others. And I say that because there was an odd thing that came out. Not odd, I think it's a great comment on our community. But it tended to be, most of the comments were about worried about other people not having child care. They would make a comment about, our family is fine, but I worry about those kids who don't have child care. I didn't see any of them that said, I don't know what I'm going to do with my kids. I didn't see anything like that in there. There were some that said it's going to be inconvenient, but it wasn't that I can't do anything about it. And you'll see, remember back when we had the question on what you would do with child care, and the responses on that as well. But what I love about that is because of our community. Our community is concerned about all of our kids, and they want to make sure that all of our kids are well taken care of. I think that's a beautiful thing. 48 of those were all in for the 4-day. 24 had concerns on academic outcomes. 6 concerns were wondering if it was good for teachers. And I think that may have been a misunderstanding. They were concerned that teachers were going to be overworked and didn't maybe understand, in some of the comments I know, didn't understand about the Fridays that they would have off. 6 were just basically leave well enough alone. And then 4, we really thought of everything, and those were very, very helpful. They were listing things that we needed to think about. And so those were really, really, really good. Okay, we've got a bunch of questions here, and we're going to just start going through these. Is there anything else you want to say before we do that? What does every individual Slayton ISD board member think about this change? Well, we're going to talk about that in the board meeting on Thursday night, and we're going to present it. I don't know that they want to get up and give their individual opinions, but would you like to, or do you want to wait for the board meeting? They're not.
Good teachers are good teachers, whether they teach 4 days a week or 5 days a week. If they have a positive impact on kids' lives, it doesn't matter. It's going to work no matter what.
Thank you. Regarding CTE and SFA, will the ACE program be canceled? How would a 4-day week affect the supposed 10-hour week requirement? I don't know what the 10-hour week requirement would be. We are in the last year of our ACE grant. Fiona May, who runs that, she and I talked this week. We're in the last year of that grant for an after-school program. We cannot afford to do that program on our own. And if you'll remember, and you may not if you've got kids in elementary school, but we ran an ACE program back probably 7 or 8 years ago, and that lasted for 3 years, and then that funding went away. And so Fiona was not sure if they were going to re-up that grant again, and we won't know until the summer. It'll be sometime in the summer before that decision is made, and we have no say over that at all. If it is, then there is a possibility that they could do that Friday or that Monday. If we can find a facility in town, it probably wouldn't be at a school, but if another facility, they would be able to run that program for perhaps a half a day. But that's not a promise. We don't know yet. They're hoping it's re-upped, and if it is, then we would be able to have access perhaps to that, but we don't know anything for sure yet. Is there a daycare program for Slayton ISD for kids on Friday to be made available, or is that a teacher problem to manage? We've been talking about that. We do not run a child care, and so the principals will work with teachers in their buildings on how to get that done. One of the things we know is children can't be running up and down the halls of schools when the teachers are trying to work and have meetings and all of that sort of thing. Will Tiger Den be extended on the Monday through Thursday, and will Tiger Den be available every Friday for the affected teacher work days? If teachers are on duty, Tiger Den is open. Does that answer that? Will teacher salaries be affected by this change? There is a matrix that we use. No one will make less money. No one will make less money. Our bus drivers will not make less money. Our maintenance crews will not. Our custodians will not. No one will make less money.
Will the 4-day week affect summer school? No. Or summer break? No. It will still go to school from like August till the end of May, so it won't affect the summer break at all. And will there still be pep rallies on Friday? Yes. Yes, there'll still be pep rallies. We're going to still do our extracurricular stuff, right?
So my question has to do with the research that was done to make this proposal. How many schools did you talk to, and can you give us a little more information about some of the conversations you had? Yes. With DeKalb ISD, we visited with the elementary principal, the junior high principal, the high school principal, and the superintendent, and the athletic director, and the assistant superintendent. They were very candid with us. At first, the elementary principal was scared to death, and she loves it. She said in her elementary school, it's pre-K all the way through 5th grade, I believe. And so one of the things that she talked about was for the primary kids, extended play, not just moving around, but extended, what do you call that, Felicia? Structured play. For them, that's really helpful for them to be able to have that interaction with kids and learn more about how to have interaction. Our kids don't get together as much outside of school as they used to. And so that was a huge benefit. All of the principals that we talked with in that district and the superintendent were very, very high on it. DeKalb looks very similar to us. They're a little bit smaller than we are, but the demographics are very similar. And then we visited extensively with Anna, Texas. And that would be mostly the superintendent. You want to talk about those conversations?
Well, Anna is located around Fort Worth and Dallas ISD, and he said, he admitted they're kind of late to the party. Everybody around Dallas and Fort Worth in that area has gone to this, and he was dragging his feet and said he's late to the party. That meant for him, he's having still trouble kind of trying to find some teachers and stuff because that area is already doing it, the whole area. There's not a whole lot in this area. There's some smaller schools doing it, but there's not any our size doing it. A concern that I have personally about it is if we're the last one to the party, it's not going to help with teacher retention. It's not going to help recruiting good people. It's not going to help with anything really if we're the last one to the party. If Lubbock ISD does it, Roosevelt does it, Idalou does it, Littlefield does it, all these area schools, and we're last to the party, what benefit do we get to offer to get some of these people stolen and come be in front of our kids? So that's a concern that I have. I would rather Slayton ISD be the leader of the pack, and we can always say, hey, we tried that a year and it was absolutely awful, don't do it. Or we can say, follow us and now try to get some teachers because we took them all, we got them all. So I would rather be the leader, that's a concern. We don't want to be like Anna and be the last one to the party because he's still struggling. So that's kind of that deal. Yes, ma'am?
The ones that you visited with, how long have they been doing the 4 days?
This is Anna's second year. DeKalb, 4 years now? I can't remember. 3, I think, years now. And then we've got some calendars. They've been doing it 5 and 6 and 7 years and they love it and they're saying they'll never go back. So it's kind of a mixture there too. Anna, he's still kind of on the fence. He's like, I'm ready to see more data. I'm ready to get past the 3-year. Their board did a 3-year pilot also. That's what they asked for. He says his teachers and staff, his community is loving it. The offices, the businesses are kind of closed on days. The kids are in school now and open on days or not. Their businesses are seeing more business. So he's kind of still on the fence with it right now about how he feels about it personally. But he was kind of candid about all that stuff.
Are little ones going to have extra snack or rest time so they're not in the classroom the entire time of longer days? Yes, but not just, and we mentioned that, not just unfocused play, but it is structured play for those guys, and time for physical development as well.
This one is, could we start a Boys and Girls Club in Slayton to help our families on Fridays or after school events? Guys, I think the more Slayton has to offer business-wise and everything, I mean, we need to grow, we need to get some movement going, we don't need to stay the same. So I think if we could offer some of these things, personal opinion, that just makes our community better and stronger as a whole, so absolutely. If we got people wanting to do it, I say let's do it.
Will coaches also let the kids rest on the Fridays, or will this be an extra time in the weight room?
UIL governs your practice time a week anyway. I wish we could spend all day in the weight room. I'm coming from the coaching background. Guys, I'd love it as a coach for my kids to get to spend hours in there. UIL governs that. You get 8 hours, 8.5, I think now it is, to work out per week. So on those days off, do our coaches plan on still having their kids come up and do a workout? Absolutely, but it won't get to be a 5-hour workout because that's illegal. And even though we are Slayton right now and we are struggling in our athletics as far as football and things go, people are still watching us because they know what's coming. And they would love to call UIL and go, hey, Slayton's working out 15 hours a week. They would love to do that because then UIL will show up and we get investigated and then we're all suspended. Y'all have read the news lately, some of those schools being suspended. So we don't want to get into that situation. We're governed by UIL and we will stick by that. But they will have workouts on some of those days.
Will this happen next year if the board approves it? Yes. Why were we able to take the survey multiple times? That's not accurate data. I agree. I don't think we had anybody trying to sway the data at all, but we answered that one. Where's the proof that this schedule helps STAR scores? I think we've talked about that. We've looked at 40 different schools and their STAR scores didn't really check. When do we play sports? When we've always played sports. And if passed, how long will the trial be for the new schedule? What we're talking with the board about is a 3-year pilot period. It's very difficult to do something once and say, okay, unless it just absolutely crashes, we're going to make a decision after one time. We'll be able to make changes in year 2 if the board allows that. We'll be able to make changes in year 2 that would mitigate some of the problems we had in year 1. And in year 3, we should have it rocking and rolling. The way we talk to teachers when they come in, or new administrators, anybody new in their position in education, if you've ever been water skiing, when you gun the boat like this and you're the back sitting down and you can't see where you're going, that's kind of year 1 in anything. And then it starts to kind of level out a little bit. You can see where you're going, that's year 2. And then once you get on the plane and you're really rocking, that's year 3. And so we're asking for 3 years, but the board has the autonomy. If they decided in December of next year that it's not working, they can pull the plug. That's 100% their prerogative. I would think we'll take a survey every year to see how it's working, but we're going to know a lot from the statistics. We're going to know the discipline data. We're going to have the attendance rate for kids and for teachers. We'll be taking surveys on teachers and what's going on, but we'll have real live academic data for us. We won't have to rely on what's happening in any other school district. We'll know it's for us. That's a great question. Thank you.
This one says, is Wednesdays still going to be left for any activities and for church, or without any activities and for church? Yes, guys. I mean, the latest we hope is 4:30, and we try to stay off of Wednesdays for church and things anyway. So yes, the Wednesdays won't change a thing.
This one is there any plan for the possible 1 to 2% budget savings? We're not going to bank on anything yet because we don't know what it's going to be. Our budget is about 86% personnel. about 14% operational. And so most of our budget is in personnel. That's not going to change. So the change that we will see, we may see a little difference in our lighting bill and things like that. But as far as actual dollars that we're going to be able to re-budget, we're not to that point yet. We'll just have to see how it comes out.
And this one, what about childcare for those who work for the school and those who don't? Childcare for those that work for the school, when the school's open, all of the normal childcare, like the Tiger Den or anything like that, will be open. When we are closed, it's, I'm a parent and I had kids this age once, and when school was closed, whether it was bad weather days and we still had to go in, or whether it was a Friday I was coaching and I still had to coach my kids, it's just kind of like summer, spring break, any of those things where I still worked, I found somewhere for my kids to go. So on the days we're not here, it's going to kind of be up to the parents on what they want to do with their child.
I think the rest of them we have pretty much answered already. Are there any other questions that are burning in your mind that we can answer? Yes, ma'am.
With TAP being gone after
Yes,
this
ma'am.
year, has the consideration been made that there may be better teacher retention with that being gone?
I hope that's the case. What we're doing is transitioning to an instructional coach model, so that we have aligned curriculum and aligned practices in our math and in our ELAR. And so that's what we're really hoping is going to make a huge impact, especially with our alt-cert teachers. Depth of content knowledge is a big part of that for us.
I just didn't know if there needed to be separation so you can tell what the difference is on your teacher retention. You're going to retain more teachers without the TAP program. I would think. And I'm coming from a former teaching experience, and that's why I feel that way, and I've heard others talk about it in the community. And so I just didn't know if you could base a whole lot with them being back to back like that and the teacher retention part of it. And good leadership is going to make a significant difference on your teacher retention.
I agree. Yes, ma'am. TAP is the teacher advancement program. We have been using the TAP model for probably 9 years, I believe. That is coaching on instructional strategies in the classroom. And so teachers go to support. We'll still have those same support meetings, but it'll be by content instead of grade level.
I had to learn that too. I was new this year too. So I was with you. I was like, what is that? We didn't know anything.
Yes, ma'am.
Will this affect free or reduced meals for the kids in school?
No. No, no. Yeah, Lynette Swatter, who does our Snack Sack program for CTE and SFA, has been visiting with, before this ever came up, she's been visiting with the food bank. We don't know when, but we're invited to a meeting with the food bank to see if we can increase the food that we send home on Thursdays and make that more of a more substantial package that would give an extra day's food. So that's not part of the free or reduced lunch. That's the Snack Sack program that's individually funded here in town, but they do a fantastic job. And I actually called her and said, look, I don't want you to think there's more pressure on you. And she said, no, it's not pressure. They've been dreaming about how to increase the food. And so I'm not sure exactly what's happening on at the food bank, but there may be a cooperation there that we can do and extend the Snack Sack program to include more food.
Yes, ma'am.
So a decision will be made in the next board meeting on this?
We're going to present it to the board.
We're going to present it to the board at the next board meeting. If they approve it, we're hoping to have a calendar, 5-day, 4-day, whatever, in April, because we're getting pretty late. So we're hoping April's the kind of the cutoff.
Whether they approve it or not is up to them, but, yes, ma'am.
And sir, I know you said that y'all are gonna be meeting with food bank. And just from experience, just being a son, a lot of these kids, they rely, just high school, they rely on us to feed them. You know, they don't have it. And so, is there any way that we can come up with a program for them? You know, like in silence, where they can just sign up and say, hey, you know, I need food at home. You know, 'cause they kind of speak to that.
When COVID was happening, the only experience that we have in that in town, when COVID happened, and kids were at home for 2.5, 3 months, we had a highly publicized food distribution program. We had school buses and we had police officers and teachers and pickups and stuff all over town. And very, very few people took advantage of that. There was hardly any. In fact, by the time it was over, it was just a dwindle. Maybe 1 or 2 people would come and take advantage of that. So I can't explain why. I don't know why. But if we can get, I know that I visited with a gentleman at one of the churches, and they are considering having a kind of a Mother's Day Out program where they feed lunch and have some activities for kids on that day off. But as far as the district is concerned, that's not something we would be able to do. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
We're hoping it also eliminates the need for summer school. We hope everybody passes and we don't need it. Summer school's hard. Some of those kids that fail are not the kids that like to be at school anyway. And I've got a son that does not like to be at school. He's at that age. And so those that fail, it's really hard, in the summer when they kind of need the break. So we're hoping it improves all those areas. Mr. Schutz, I know you will make more money in the summer. I'm sorry. No, I'm kidding.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm going back to what is the board thing? I have not formed an opinion. This is why we're here. I read all of the responses. Sure, they can be skewed, but this is why we're here. We want to hear from you. So for those of you that didn't want to speak up, we're here. We're here tonight. We want you to come talk to us. Because we want to know what you think. I have 3 kids in school from elementary to high school. I can vote my opinion, and I would split myself in half, because I see my high school kid versus my elementary kid, and they are 2 different children. We don't have all the answers, but we want to do what's you want and what's best for these kids and best for the community. So that's my board opinion.
Thank you. Anybody else?
You kind of hinted at it, but do you think going to the 4-day week would give us maybe a leg up in reaching teachers who would otherwise go to like Level Jack, Cedar Cooper, stuff like that? And then possibly give us another teaching pool to pick from, then kind of straight.
That's exactly what we're hoping for.
Personal opinion, I think so.
Can I follow up with that? What are the schools that you talked to, did they see better candidates?
Yes, the CAB especially.
You had formal and informal conversations.
DeKalb said they had a large group of their retired teachers that were really good say, well, I can come do 4 days. So they saw a lot of that. Anna, like I said, he was late to the party and he hasn't seen good or bad as far as getting more people, but he's like, we're one of the last ones that chose to do it. So But we're hoping that that's what happens. We're trying to be proactive in trying to get good people.
Have you talked with Crosby at all? I know they just voted and they're going to a 4-day school. They'll be the biggest in Texas, I believe, school district. Have you
We've not
talked
talked to them.
I did not know they even voted on
They
that, so.
voted to go to 4-day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, just last week, okay.
They won't have any data, so.
No, I just, maybe what their opinions were, or, kind of where they came to this decision,
Right.
Yeah.
We've not, but we certainly can.
that might be more, relative to where we are. I know it's a bigger school district, but just
Crosby?
Crosby.
Where is Crosby?
Near Dallas area.
Okay.
I looked at the stats clusters, they have over 6,000 students.
Well, that is probably the biggest. Okay.
But based on your initial comment of teacher retention and recruitment, we posted our math job, less than a week ago? I mean, when we post jobs, it takes a month, sometimes longer to get an applicant. But just with the buzz with this, we had 4 quality math applicants. We interviewed them all. And they all want to come here. And when I call them, hey, what's going on? Do you want to come down and interview? They ask me about the 4-day week.
Well, I just wonder, because, we're smaller. It's harder to pull people from Lubbock. They probably have more good and here, there's things. Like, it's just reality, it is.
Right.
So that was my positive in the situation is, that would give us a leg up in this battle that everybody's fighting anyway,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Everybody's trying to fight teachers.
Yes.
So if we could maybe,
Get some good ones. And then, and once they get here and they see how great we are, they choose to stay. Whether we go back to 5-day or we stay 4-day.
right, but,
That's better. Because we are great. Our kids are fantastic.
they are, but you just gotta get people in the door and from like on paper, all being the same, I'm gonna probably gonna pay a little more,
Mhm.
I'm like,
Mhm. Mhm. Yes,
unless you grow up in a small town and people know the value.
that's right.
Anybody from the cheap seats way back there?
Y'all awake?
What we would appreciate is if you would take out your smartphone and do another survey real quick. And yes, you can take it more than once if you want to, but please don't. If you'll just take out your smartphone, and it's got 3 questions on there for you.
I think it's 3 questions. Yes, no questions. Very easy. It won't take long. There's some little kids in here if you need to know how to run your phone. You can ask those guys. They'll get up and show you how to work the camera. I know they would have to me, so.
And we'll publish those. The question was about when will we know the school times. If the board approves this, then we will get together and get those times lined out. And we'll advertise those way in advance. So everybody has a very clear picture of that.
My main concern is with the small babies, I have one that's gonna be in first grade and one's in pre-K. We get out at 3:30, and they're so tired, and I just worry that, 30 more minutes, 45 more minutes, they're like ravenous raccoons when they get out of school. They're just wild and they're so tired and they're so hungry. Whenever
I agree,
They will
and
go-
that's
they'll
one
have the
reason,
shortest day.
they'll have the shortest.
They'll have the shortest day.
We have the flexibility within that 7:30 to 4:30 bell to work them where those babies don't, their schedule's not gonna change a whole lot, yes.
We're getting up so early, you know,
Yeah.
the first bell rings at 7:45 and they're kind of tardy at 8, so it's just, you know,
Maybe move,
you know, but that's, I think
Do
that's.
you think they would be better if you report like 8:15?
Maybe,
The babies?
maybe a little later in the morning, or not so late, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is.
Okay,
I don't know what the answer is there, but
I don't know,
but
yeah.
I think that's one of my main concerns, just those little.
It's hard, yeah, long day. Long day. Yes, yes.
Use it to the point of diminishing return after lunch for the first grade.
Mhm.
I've been there for multiple years,
Mhm.
and honestly, the teachers there about 3:30,
Mhm.
we're done.
And that's teenagers too. Teenagers' brains start about 9 and shut off at 1.
We want to add more time to their day when the kids are done, but honestly, we all know the teachers are done too. By 3:30, lights out. I mean, they're done learning, and they're tired. And, I mean, I think that's my big concern as a parent and a former full-time teacher, is when you get to a point where you're done. Mornings is always the best if you can capture them, especially with their core subjects.
Absolutely.
As soon as they get there, to
Mhm.
lunchtime.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. We'll have to get very creative, I think, with the schedules, if this is something that's approved, especially with the babies, because we do know that. I mean, that it, yes, yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Speaking about that, so they'll be getting at like around 4:30-ish. Will all the schools get like an extra snack for the kids?
Well, we're not gonna be dismissing school at 4:30. It'll be before then.
It'll be, yes.
But it'll be, I mean, kind of where they're at now, so still they'll be able to get another snack, or even an extra nap time for the little ones?
I think that talking with our principals, they're considering, extending their nap times a little bit, maybe recess time a little bit, some of those structured play times a little bit. It's not going to be sit down and do another math homework. I mean, we're gonna get really creative with that. As far as snack times, I think they have snacks on the deal. I think that could be something where we get creative with our snack. I mean, money is tight, we know that. It can't be where we furnish every kid a snack every day, but it could be something maybe where parents, can do a sign up and can you bring a snack one time a month and maybe do some different things like that. I've got a kid that plays travel baseball. We get creative because they're boys and they eat us out of house and home, and we bring snacks and we do some things. So, it could be, classroom decision on how that works because, yeah, I get it. They're hungry. And if they're not hungry, their brains work better, so we want them fed, for sure.
Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
But depending on with the way the schedule goes, so some weeks that we have a Monday holiday, so we have Friday off. Some weeks that we have that Monday holiday, they will go to school that Friday, or is that something still in the works?
We haven't adopted a calendar yet at all, but we'll have to look at that, yes.
But the plan is to be 4 days a week, so if it's a Monday or Friday, yes, those holidays, yes. We don't want it to turn into a 3-day week. No.
She said, I'll go through
The
that.
kids, yeah, I get it, I know. I got one note on that too.
Anybody else?
Mr. Anderson, may I comment?
Yes, sir.
Ever since this has been announced, folks, I've been keeping my eyes open. I sent you this, all right? I've been keeping my eyes open a little bit about what's going on outside of our industry. And you'd be shocked at the number of businesses that they don't even want 40-hour weeks anymore. They're going to 30-hour weeks, paying their people full-time, 30 to 35 hours a week. You set your schedule, do your thing, all right? It's amazing how many companies are doing this. And it gives their people other things on the side that they're interested in, they're creative about, that bleeds into the work that they do. So you see a lot of more passionate people coming back to work with better ideas because of the side job I'm working on as well. And it's just amazing kind of what's going on out there that we might not see because, you know, we don't necessarily live in
I think COVID changed the world. COVID changed the world. We got people that don't want to go back to work. Everywhere is advertising for jobs. I saw that study. That was good.
Anybody else? Well, guys, I want to thank, we got 5 of our board members here tonight, and thank y'all for being here. I appreciate that very much. This is a serious thing, and it's taken seriously, and very much appreciate you being here as well. We were scared to death we were going to get here, and we were going to be the only people here, so.
We thought we were going to have to talk to each
Very
other.
appreciative of all of you coming, and we're a phone call away. So if you got something else you want to talk about, please call, okay?